I am Claudia Zimmerman, and Kyle and I have been working in Buenos Aires, Argentina now for 16 years. I don't know when I say 17, but anyways, we'll stay at 16 for now. Um, we have three children who are, as of this Saturday, all three will be adults. Abby is turning 18 on Saturday, and that's just crazy. I don't know where the time has gone. And our two oldest are in college. Isaiah is at Covenant College starting his last semester, Lord willing, graduating in May. Sarah is starting her spring second semester at Cedarville. And Abby is looking to see where to go. It's looking like wants to go to Southeastern University in Florida. So
An
none
AG
of them.
college, really?
That's right. That's right. Going back to my
Wow.
roots.
Yeah, there you go.
Going backwards. Going back to my roots. Um, and so we'll see. It's quite a conversation at the table with the three of them at different denominational schools. It's been interesting.
Oh my gosh.
Um, but so it makes for good conversations.
They
So
all seem to follow Christ and
that's
they all
right.
got
That's right.
back to their destinations, right? It
That's
was
right.
kind of
That's
interesting
right.
weather-wise doing that this week. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's a miracle. I mean, we thought Isaiah wasn't going to make it because his layover was in Dallas and that storm just hit Dallas. And Sarah just, I don't know how she got to Ohio in the middle of all that snow, but she's thrilled. And so anyway, so that's the kids. You can be praying for them as they
Yeah.
continue to transition. It's a big deal. Isaiah's in a major transition time as he realizes that coming home to Argentina probably won't be all the time anymore as he becomes his adult life in the United States and has decisions to make about jobs and post college. And so he's just surviving trying to graduate. So it's really hard to go beyond that. We just pray he can graduate. So
Does he like Tennessee or does he want to come back home?
he's open to anything. But he's in a
He's gone
serious
to Black
relationship.
Forest too, right? Didn't he
No,
go to
no,
Black
no, no,
Forest? Okay, all right,
no,
my
no.
mistake. All right.
Just Argentina
Argentina all the
and
way, right?
yeah. So we would love to have him back here, but he's for now feels called to stay in the States and he's dating someone seriously. So we'll see
There you go.
what happens there. And so you can be praying for Isaiah and his transitions coming up. He almost didn't pass a few classes last semester, so that was a little scary for him. He's a little overwhelmed, and he has a senior thesis, a senior capstone this semester that he has to get done to graduate. So we're pushing just graduation right now. That's the biggest prayer request for him. He's a bright kid, but with his
Yes.
ADHD, sometimes it's really hard to time manage. And being an RA, which has been wonderful to be an RA, it's a resident assistant for those. Sometimes I say RA here in Argentina, and they're like, "What is that?" So
Oh,
I
RA, yeah.
finish
Brandon, you were probably
explaining,
an RA, right? Yeah.
and and so yeah, so we're looking towards helping him. Sarah's really excited about everything she's studying. She really wants to go into medical missions, so she's having a hard time picking between nursing or staying pre-med, but she got a 4.0 last semester. I mean, she's just rocking.
She's bright. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
All your kids are, yeah, you have
she's
a great family.
she's different from Isaiah's just naturally very bright and she's the hard worker. Like school's very hard for her. And so she just works, 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 works. She's got that grit. And
She's
Abby, we'll
serious,
see.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So she's made for that. So we'll see. So that's the kids update. Kyle and
Abby's
I
doing
are
okay though.
Abby is good. It's
Yeah.
hard when
All
the
right.
siblings are here and then they leave again.
Yeah.
It's just so hard, this whole missions call. I've said this before, like you're ready to go on the field and you say goodbye to everything back home, even though Argentina is somewhat home as well for me. But you don't think about the sacrifice and the call when your kids, when you empty nest and now you're saying goodbye to your own children. That's a prayer request for me personally. It's been really hard to um, stay the course when you see your kids wanting to settle back in the United States, and it's their season and their time to move forward, but it's just the heartstrings make it a little bit intense, and you just feel so far away and you feel like you're missing part of their lives. So I understand what Paco was saying about missing his children. But yet the call and his faithfulness and his grace, and God has us here. People keep asking, are you leaving? Are you staying? And the Lord has just shown us to stay the course. And so we will be pushing forward here in Argentina. So Abby is doing well, and she's preparing. She would go to college in August of this year. So she has a little bit of a gap here. She just graduated in December, and we'll see what projects and things. She's going to be working at some Christian camps this summer here in Argentina. And so she's excited to be a counselor in those things. So
what is she going to study, Claudia?
She wants to do digital media. So actually she could do that anywhere. So we'll see. I'm still plugging for her staying here.
Yeah, because the education's really good in Argentina and the cost factor, right? Yeah.
It's just a biblical worldview, and I understand that. Like, it's just like the US, the secular university is intense here in Buenos Aires. And the Christian college ministries, they do their best, but they're not like the United States. So we've seen in our own church what's happened to a lot of the college kids. And so Kyle is quick to remind me, even our strongest of youth have had a rough time in the university setting in Buenos Aires. And so we're working on that on the ministry side. That's a good segue. God has really brought in a lot of college and young adult kids to our Palermo church in La Misión. Our church, backing up a little bit, our church is a multi-congregation model, and it meets in different areas of Buenos Aires city and province, and each area has its own context and challenges. And so Palermo it's an unchurched area with a lot of young professionals, college students, and that Palermo night service has turned into like a young adult service. Like I want to say the pastor, his wife, and Kyle and I are the oldest people in the church. And so we've started mentoring and meeting with them regularly. Kyle one-on-one with some of the guys, and I have a women's small group, and they have a college career small group that we're walking alongside and mentoring. So definitely pray for that as new roles are developing, and we have to work with the elders of the church and the different youth leadership, just kind of how we mesh into that new role and continue to work there. We enjoy it. I feel like our kids left and God brought in, we have new children, new spiritual children. And so we're enjoying that. And they're internationals, like they're from Brazil and Peru and Paraguay and Ecuador. We even have a guy here from England teaching in a bilingual school, and he's a young guy. We have our missions intern, Shayla. So it's just been a neat group, and we're enjoying that. Kyle is starting a volleyball outreach with our mission intern, Shayla, and that's been going really well in the parks. There's a big park in Palermo that's like Central Park in New York, and we've already had some great conversations with. The other day, I met a university professor. She was walking her dog, and she just sat down to talk to us. And she had never been into a church. She didn't know what a church was and why we were here working with a church and what does that look like, because she just has a Catholic understanding. So anyway, so
cool.
That's Palermo.
Hey, Shayla is from Memphis.
That's right.
Your intern?
Shayla
Yeah,
is
okay.
from Second Pres in Memphis.
Yeah,
and
Rufus's
he's
church.
doing college ministries and sports ministries with us. So we are thankful for her. She's discipling some of the young girls, younger girls, 18-year-olds, and it's been a blessing. So Kyle is plugging away at the micro enterprise. We also work with a business as mission model, I guess you can say, or a social justice through the gospel, bringing vocational training to the people in Merlo, Buenos Aires. Merlo, Buenos Aires is 45 minutes outside of the city. And the poverty in the province is very different from the poverty in the city. And Kyle was just writing up a grant proposal. We're praying for that grant. You can be praying for us for the stipends of the men that work with him. And he did a research on the churches in the area in Merlo, and all of them in the radius of our church are all, what's a nice way to say it? They're all churches that are very misleading and teaching a false gospel. And that again reminded us that where Palermo, you have the unchurched. Merlo, you have all these people that are being manipulated and taught false gospels. And so once again, a reminder of faith and work and integral missions and discipleship, and yet also job training. So that is going well, and you can be praying for the new projects and challenges, and hopefully to be able to continue to grow and give a stipend to new apprentices, as well as open new classes to continue to raise up and provide new opportunities for people to just learn a new skill and also connect to the church and hear the gospel, obviously, which is the most important. And our other congregation we work with is in Flores, which is on the south side of the city of Buenos Aires. It is one of the poorer areas of the city of Buenos Aires. And the poverty continues to be a problem in Buenos Aires. The economy is doing a little better as far as inflation, but now the cost of living is like if you live in New York. And so it's just kind of a crazy economical cycle that Argentina goes through. So that has made it very difficult. Some of our small group people in Flores sometimes don't have food to eat, and we're helping them buy groceries and pay rent and just kind of get out of this. This is middle class people that have 2 jobs and are just having a rough time. So Flores, I work with the children's ministry, and we're taking a break for the summer here. It's summer in Buenos Aires, and preparing for the next ministerial year. So you could be praying for us as we refocus, prepare for ministry in 2025. Things kind of slow down in Buenos Aires for the summer. And we just take the opportunity to meet with people one-on-one and continue to discipleship that way. So a lot to share. That's kind of it in a nutshell for now.
It's awesome. Thanks. That's a lot. I appreciate how you really hit on some things that you've not told us about the areas, and that's really helpful to know. And I appreciate how vulnerable you've been through. Gosh, I looked back. We've been doing this for 4.5 years.
I know, since
Believe
pandemic,
that?
I think of that all the time, because
Oh
that's when
my-
Isaiah was starting his journey, and I was just like, wow, this is one of the cool things pandemic left us. That's
Oh man.
not
Yeah.
crazy. That's awesome.
You've given us the privilege and opportunity to see glimpses into difficulty, and yet working through it with that beautiful smile that you always have.
Oh,
So
thank you.
it's cool.
Thank you.